recording this as well. So I do appreciate you being here today. Let's go ahead and jump in, because this is actually a really important lesson, a really important thing that needs to be done in order for you to leverage and get some value out of these new websites. You know, in some of our other webinars, we talk about how cool the websites are and the advantages of all that kind of stuff and how to pull the strings to make the website work. But none of that really matters if we're not driving traffic to the website and we're not marketing the website efficiently or effectively. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And yes, we are recording this, and we will be taking some questions and answers at the end. So I do not have a helper on the call today, so we will not be able to be answering questions during the content. But I promise at the end we'll circle back around and make sure that all your questions get answered. And GoToWebinar does a great job of recording those questions as well. So if we've got some stuff out there that maybe we can't answer on the webinar, we can certainly get back in touch with you as well. So let's dive into this here, and we're going to be talking about what the next steps are for you to market your website. And we're assuming that you know, your website just kind of is ready to launch or getting ready to get out there. And the first thing that we're going to be talking about is creating a home value page, then creating a welcome message, engaging your vendors and fellow agents, notifying your database, writing a press release, offering CMAs, and then finally a grand opening post on Facebook. So we're going to go through each one of these in detail on how you can take advantage and take these next steps in marketing your new Placester website. So let's talk about this home value thing first. For those of you who may or may not have noticed this, there is no built-in lead capture mechanism or form on your Placester websites. That is something that you would have to put inside there. Now, the idea here is that you want to capture both buyers and sellers leads, and Placester does a really great job of capturing the buyers leads many places throughout the website, you know, on the property details pages, for example, or even on saving a search. If they've got a search kind of refined and defined for their search criteria, they can save that, and those would turn into leads that would show up in your eEdge dashboard. But built into Placester, there's not an option for lead capture for sellers. So what we recommend that you do is you create a multi-step form on a third-party tool called Wufoo. And I'm actually going to go out of our presentation here and just jump over to the internet and show you what that looks like. And the reason why we choose Wufoo is that it is it's a free service. I guess I can't type and talk at the same time. It's a free service for forms, and these forms are beautiful. They're responsive, which means that they work in your website regardless of whether the website is at full screen on a desktop or laptop, or if it's shrunk down to an iPhone. So the idea behind Wufoo is that you can use these free forms, and they will work on all different displays of your website. So I'm going to go ahead and log into my account here and show you the Wufoo form that I've created, and maybe give you a little bit of information or some ideas possibly on how to make your website forms look a little bit better. Now, you'll notice in the notes that I said a multi-step form, and the reason why we want it to be a multi-step form is because it gives you micro investments of the person as they're filling things out. So tiny little investments as we go along the way. So I'm logged into Wufoo here under my free account, and I've created a form that's called How Much Could Your Home Sell For? And I put a little introductory paragraph up here at the top, and then I've got 3 steps to the form. So the first step is gathering the property address. Well, consumers are likely going to put that information in there because you can't really give them property value if you don't know the address. So it's pretty benign and non-threatening to ask for that information in the first step of the form, property address. The next thing that we asked for is property information. So if we scroll down a little bit further here, you see there's a break in the form, and it's going to ask, you know, how many bedrooms and how many bathrooms do you have? So pretty, again, benign and non-threatening information. And then the third step in our form is asking them for their contact information. So we're asking them for their name, their email address, and phone number. And the last piece of this here, so this is now really a lead at this point. If we get that contact information, we can now put them in our database and start following up with them. And ideally, we want to give them a CMA, right? We want to get a home value assessment for this person. So asking for email address and phone numbers fairly normal, but people may not necessarily trust this yet and may not want to give you that information. So one of the questions that we encourage you to ask at the bottom of this form is, how do you prefer to be contacted? So you can see that I've got here a little radio button that says, do you prefer to be contacted with a phone call, with a text, or with email? And having a form like this where there's multiple steps to it will allow your client to engage with you a little bit more trustingly. And when you ask them how they prefer to be contacted, they're much more likely to give you real contact information as opposed to giving you Mickey Mouse at 123 Main Street. So this is the free service called Wufoo, and we highly encourage you to take advantage of that. And I want to show you over on this website over here what that's going to look like. So when you take that code, the form that we just created, and create a page inside of Playster, it'll look something along these lines. So you can see we've got how much is your home sell for, we've got our little paragraph there of content, and then we've got our property address, property information, and then the submit section is where they would put their contact information in. So as you move through the form, you'll see, hopefully the internet will play with us, you'll see those 3 different stages that I mentioned before. So really important, if we're going to be marketing this as our new website, we want to make sure that we have a home seller form. And like I said earlier, we want to do that through Wufoo. You can use any form creator that you want to, but the idea here is that we're going to create a new page on our website that's called Home Value or Home Worth, something along those lines. So very important that you have those things there. So step number 1 on our list of things that we're going to do to market our new website is a little bit of housekeeping, but making sure that we have a home value form on our website, because we're going to be talking about that just a little bit later. The second piece is a little bit of housekeeping too, a little more content that we want you to put on your website, and that's to create a new page on your website that's kind of like a welcome page. Welcome to my new website. And the point of this page is to build value and discuss the features of your new website. So I'm going to show you an example of how we've done that on this website over here, so you can get an idea of what type of content needs to be there. And this page is important. We're going to be using that in our marketing in just a little bit. So we want to make sure that we have these 2 pages already created before we get into the marketing of our website. We want to have the home value form, and then we want to have a welcome page. Now, forgive me, I did kind of put this welcome content together a little bit quickly, so if there's typos in here, please don't hold it too much against me. But I want to share with you, and if you want to look at this on your computer as well, I'll send out the link after the webinar. But this is to searchorlandohomes.com/welcome. So I would encourage you to do that on your domain as well, whatever your domain name is, .com/welcome. And this is a page that we created there that basically is a landing page that we'll be using for some of our marketing efforts that explains the value of this website. Now, what we're trying to do is build this website to be a tool and a resource for the community. So this is not all about you and how great of an agent you are. This is all about how awesome the website is as a tool to help people in your community find information. And I don't think we should be talking directly about buying and selling. I think we should be talking about community information and what it's like to live there. And then when we start talking about working with the buyers or the sellers, we have to make this site sound really awesome, better than the other websites out there. And one of the things that we can do, and I kind of talked about that in this paragraph here, I said on this website that you can search on the entire MLS free from distracting advertisements and without any obligation to provide your personal information. So if you think about where buyers go to search right now, it's just inundated with advertisements, and that would be a huge value to your website, that people can search there without being distracted by the advertisements and without having to give any personal information in order to view the entire MLS. So that's a huge value that you'd be providing to your clients. Now, of course, that's assuming that you didn't have the advanced lead capture or the aggressive lead capture set up where they have to give you their contact information, which that's certainly okay as well. But you want to make sure that if you are allowing people to search without advertisements or without giving you their contact information, you want to call attention to that, because that's definitely a nice thing that you're doing for them, and it's a value that you want to put forward on this welcome message. So we're going to talk a little bit about the sellers as well, and the reason why I wanted y'all to create that sellers or that home value page before we got here is we want to link to that. You notice when we were talking about the buyers, it says you can search the entire MLS here. Well, that's a link to the listing search. Same with the sellers. We want to create value in what we're providing to sellers on this website. And if you look at some of the other portal sites that are out there, they're giving automated home value reports, and they're terribly inaccurate. So some sellers already know that, so they may be frustrated by getting those automated things that are just bogus sales numbers that aren't very accurate. So you want to call attention to the fact that when you do a CMA or when you provide information to your client, it's going to be a lot more accurate because you're using a lot more data points and you're actually a human being that's creating this report for them. And again, we want to put some sort of call to action in there that will drive them over to the lead capture page that we just created with that WooFoo form. All right, so the idea here is we're attracting the buyers, we're attracting the sellers. And finally, I've added here that if you would like to partner with us, please fill out the form and we will be in touch. And I think the way the screen is resized, the form went to the bottom instead of the side. But the idea here is that we do want to be marketing to other agents in other parts of the country. Now, this example we're using is Orlando, and Orlando is a huge destination for relocation. So that might be you as well. So we want other agents to use this as a resource as well and create some referral opportunities out of this website as well. So just a quick little welcome letter is going to be your second piece of homework in marketing your new website, because we're going to be using these 2 pages that we spoke about quite extensively in the next couple of slides here as we start to market the site. So the first thing that we're going to do in marketing our new website, before we even go post it all over Facebook and anywhere else, is we're going to actually create an email to all the agents in your office and outside of your office, as well as your vendors, inviting them to your website. And the idea here is that you want those folks to know that you are an expert in this particular niche, in this particular market, and you're paying attention. You're building a new website, you're investing in your business, you're growing. This should be a really positive thing that you're basically, pulling those partners that you work with into this excitement that you're building around launching this new website. And I think it's really important here that you tell them that they are getting first access and a preview to your site. And I want you to ask for feedback and engagement. You're going to get a lot of positive reviews. Somebody might have something critical to say, and that's okay. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But most of all, you're going to get a lot of positive praise and feedback. And we want those vendors to be curious about what you're doing with your website and hopefully want to engage with you possibly in advertising on the site. Not that you necessarily would take payment for that, but just maybe featuring some of the vendors that you work with, or maybe putting a vendor resource guide on your website where you have several vendors in each category for your clients to choose from. I understand there's some requirements there, but you want the vendors to be excited about this website as you are, because those vendors obviously benefit from you being a more successful agent as well. So we want them to be involved in this process. So after you've got your 2 pages created, the first email you're going to send out is to your sphere of agents and vendors. We're not engaging our clients yet. We're going to start with agents and vendors. The next set of emails that we're going to create is a pre-grand opening. And what we're trying to do is create a kind of exclusive first look type thing, an email that would be sent to your current database of prospects and buyers and sellers, maybe people that you have in the pipeline and people that you've worked with and closed before. They are going to get this email of a pre-grand opening of the website. And basically what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get those folks to your website. If they're prospects, it's really good to get them there because there's probably a transaction in the wings with them. So it's really good to have those folks there. But then we also want our existing clients, maybe that we closed last year or 5 years ago, to know that we're still in business. It's a good contact and a good, kind of opportunity to engage and talk to them, that we're still in business, we've got a new website, and there's something there for them. And then in this email as well, we want to ask them to invite their friends. So this is a pre-grand opening. It's exclusive to them. No one else is being invited. But you know what? They're cool. We like them. They're in business with us. They can invite their friends as well. So the idea here is that we're kind of nurturing along the folks that are in the process of a transaction with us. The folks maybe that have closed a transaction before may want to re-engage with us. and potentially bring some new folks that they know that may be thinking about buying or selling a property. So it's really important that you create some exclusivity around this email and make it sound like something cool and special. And again, what we want to do here is ask for feedback and engagement about the website, and most importantly, in this phase of marketing your new website, we want to ask for those referrals. So it's perfectly okay when you're sending this email out to make it exclusive to the people that you're working with, and because they know you and they've worked with you before, it's okay for them to invite their friends and family or anybody that they know that may be interested in buying or selling. So we're trying to create some exclusivity here, and they can be part of the cool crowd and invite people in because they know you. So this is your pre-grand opening email. And you know what? You can send these out within a day of each other. If you want to make this roadmap go really fast, you certainly can do that. But you want to make sure that there's time in between these steps so that you can create really good emails and really good information and content so that people get to your website and they're excited. So that's your pre-grand opening email. It's the first time that you email to your sphere. The next thing that we're going to do is create a press release. And the press release is important to describe the value of your website and, most importantly, your local expertise. So if we look at most of the real estate portals out there, the Trulias, the Zillows, the Realtor.coms, the real big guys, very few of those have much local information about what it's like to live in those communities. So if your website actually has that local flair and expertise, you should call it the new real estate portal for wherever you are. In our case here, we were looking at Orlando. You should have Orlando's newest real estate portal and talk about how there's local information about Orlando. You might have community events, calendars on there. You might have obviously all the different subdivisions that you're working with that you created area pages for. Hopefully you did that in the previous steps. So these are really cool things that you can be presenting to the media. You might not get picked up by NBC. You probably won't, quite honestly. But the idea here is creating that press release, driving traffic over. There are going to be some press release sites that pick that up. And now all of a sudden you've got some folks, you've got some links coming into your website from valuable resources. So once this website or press release is created, you want to share this with local newspapers, homeowners associations, and any neighborhood associations. And I can think of a good example here in Orlando. We've got an area of Orlando called Hunters Creek. And one of our clients' websites is I Love Hunters Creek. So they've got a huge following of consumers, buyers, sellers, just residents, quite honestly, of Hunters Creek. And the press release we would send over to the Hunters Creek Community Association. We would send that to them, and hopefully in hopes that they would publish that in their weekly or monthly newsletter. So this kind of press release may not be seen by, the big dogs, like I said, NBC, but there's tremendous value in those links that are coming in. And if you share that with local news sources like HOAs and community centers and whatnot, you're going to get some traction there as well. And the whole key to this press release is that the website is built for the community. So you don't want to be talking about your real estate career and how awesome you are as a real estate agent in this particular press release. You want this to be very community focused, so those types of entities will pick up on it and publish that information for you to get some new traffic to your website. So one of the places that you can get your website out, and I'll send this link to you through press releases, is called a website called PRWeb. prweb.com, and I'll make sure everybody gets a copy of that link. One of the places that you can put your press release out there, and it'll get picked up by many news sources, and maybe even news sources not in your area may pick it up and start to put articles and then links back out to your website. So very important step. You don't want to kind of shortcut this. Maybe you've never written a press release before, and that's okay. There's lots of templates out there and suggestions on how to do that, but this is time well spent. You do not want to shortcut the idea of writing a press release about your new website. So this is pretty cool stuff. The next thing that we want to do is we want to create another email. And we're going to send this email specifically to clients that you've closed before and you've sold a home to. And what we're trying to do here is offer all of those folks a CMA, building value in why they want a CMA, even if they're not thinking about selling their home. So everybody's always curious, you know, how much appreciation, or hopefully not in many markets depreciation, they may have on their house. But here we want people to do a CMA regardless of whether they're thinking of buying or selling or not. And that's because, number one, we want to put people through the website. We want to drive that traffic. We want our sphere to see how easy it is so that they'll recommend that website to us. And we also want them out there bragging. I know it seems like a little bit of work to give all of your existing clients a CMA. We want them out there bragging to their friends and family that their home appreciated X dollars and they worked with so-and-so. Oh, my realtor just told me that my house has appreciated $30,000 since I bought it last year. We want them talking about it. So while you may not see an instant return on investment where these folks are referring somebody, or you get a stranger in here, obviously, because we've worked with these people before, the impact and the value of those people out there talking about it to neighbors, to the people at work, is incalculable. So it's really important that you do this. It seems like a little bit of work, and it is, but that touch is very important for your existing client and your existing sphere. And again, we want to make this offer special. We want to make it sound like it's something that we're doing only for our existing clients, and do it before the site's grand opening. And the reason why they want to do it before is because once the site's open, it's going to be busier. We want to create that sense of urgency that we want them to go through this process. We want to give them this valuable information, and they get an exclusive first access to this content. So really cool way to get your existing clients that you sold a home to into the funnel. So this is a big deal. We want to make sure that they are excited about this and they bring those things in, friends and family into the funnel as well. So offering free CMAs to your existing clients is going to be email that you send out. The next thing we want to do is actually create the grand opening where we announce it to the public and we start to create you know, our ad campaigns and really start to get it out there through social channels. And you need to create a blog post to build value in the site for this grand opening. Now, this is different than the welcome page that we talked about before. The welcome page is going to be there forever, and it's going to be something that anytime that you want to reference that page, you can, you know, search orlando.com/welcome, right? So you can get people there. This blog post is going to be short-lived. Like, it's really just the grand opening. We're going to use that for marketing on some social media and whatnot, and we're going to use that, you know, maybe for a couple of weeks, and that blog post will then just kind of fall down in the rankings because, of course, you're going to do lots of blogs after that, and it'll just get buried in time, hopefully, is what would happen with these blog posts. So grand opening, we're going to create a grand opening blog post, again, building value in the site. It may be a lot of the same information that you had on the welcome page, and that's totally cool. That's totally okay. You can use and copy and paste some of that stuff. It's all good to do that. But we want to make sure that we do is we create an eye-catching featured image. So that featured image is what's going to pull into your social media. So if you're going to be posting this to Facebook or LinkedIn or any of those other social footprints that you have, you want to make sure that it looks good. So you're going to create some sort of featured image that looks really, really good. Now, you could get bonus points if you make this blog post a vlog or a video blog. So maybe you actually do a quick 30-second or 60-second video on welcoming people there, explaining how cool the website is. In fact, you could even do like a screen share, a screen recording where that you show them how to get a CMA or you show them how to do a property search. There's some really cool things that you can do if you decide to make this a video blog post. So this can be pretty neat. So grand opening blog post could be a video post or just a text-based post. And then the idea here is that you want to share this post on your social media via Facebook and Twitter. So I'm just going to show you real quick what that would look like. And we're going to jump over to my live Facebook. So my friends can get pretty creative and colorful sometimes. So just a little disclaimer in there as we log into my Facebook. Who knows what people are saying on the news feed, especially with election year. It can get kind of crazy. So what we would want to do is link to that grand opening page or post that we just created. Now, I already did this on Playster. I think I closed it. I already did this on Playster, and it was searchorlandohomes.com/grand opening. All right, so this is the link to our new grand opening page. So we've got some confetti there, a welcome information, and I kind of got lazy on here. I apologize. There's just some juicy content in here about the new website. We can take some of that content over from the welcome page as well. So this is now our grand opening page, and we'll assume that you put a great video there or some great content, and that's actually what we're going to share over on Facebook. So what we're going to do is just create a new Facebook post. In fact, what we can do there too as well is we could use an image that maybe from our desktop. So if you got a really cool image there, like that welcome image that I was talking about before, we can put that welcome image in there. We can say something like, to all my friends and family, I'm super excited to announce the grand opening of my new website, Search Orlando. Oops, let's do this a little nicer. Search OrlandoHomes.com. Please take a look and let me know what you think. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put a link to that grand opening page. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and post this here so you can see what that looks like when we create that. So this article or this post that we just created would then show up in everyone's news feed, and if you're a friend of mine, you probably will see this right now because I am doing this live. You can see that we've got this article that would show up in our news feed, and that's pretty cool because if they click on this, it's going to take them over to the grand opening page that we just created, and it's going to bring that traffic to the website to learn about it and all the value that we're talking about inside of the new website. So that piece is really neat. So the idea here is that you would do this for all of your social media, not just your Facebook. If you're big on LinkedIn, you would do it in LinkedIn as well. If you're a Twitter person, you can do it on Twitter. You can do Instagram. Any of the social media channels that you work with and you're active on and have a following, this is where you would want to post that. This would be your grand opening, and you'd want to put that on all of your social media channels. So that's kind of the grassroots, kind of basic stuff that we need to do for our initial marketing of that website when it first launches. You want to get those things out there and into your sphere of influence. And then once the website's launched, we're wanting to do some things to keep things going, right? So everything that we've talked about thus far, you've kind of had to have a relationship with the people that are in these emails that we're sending to or in these social posts. You've got some sort of relationship with them. The next thing that we're going to be doing is starting to get strangers to our website. I mean, not stranger dangers, but just, you know, other people on the other side of the internet that maybe you don't know yet, people who are doing searches in search engines like Google or whatnot. And the best way to do that is organically through SEO or search engine optimization, and we cover this a lot in our other webinars, but I want to make sure that this is not lost because building these pages is critical for the success of your website, not just as you launch, but years down the road. So the best things that you can do is you can create your area pages. We've got some videos on that. I'll be happy to share if some folks need some information on how to create those area pages, but those are great for organic SEO. And then blogging on a regular basis. And when I say regular, I mean like weekly. Weekly would be awesome. Quite honestly, most real estate agents don't blog, so even if you were doing it weekly, you're going to have a huge competitive advantage in the search engine. So just getting some content out there, we can talk about blogs all day, but just getting some content out there on a regular basis is going to help you get your website noticed by the search engines and start to rank organically. The next thing that you can do is some pay-per-click advertising. And you can do that either on Facebook or Google, and there's some other places that we can do pay-per-click advertising, but these are the two most popular. And on Facebook pay-per-click advertising, what we can do is we can advertise inside of your friends' news feed. We can kind of do that for free, right? When we did that grand opening post, all of our friends would see that. But what the pay-per-click allows us to do is set a target demographic. So let's say, for example, we're in Orlando and we're wanting to market the search OrlandoHomes.com. We can actually say, hey, anybody on Facebook that lives in the zip codes, and we can pick the ones that are most important to us, 32801, 32837, 32819. Anybody who lives in those zip codes, we want to show this advertisement to. And that advertisement could be search for homes. That advertisement could be find out your home's value. That advertisement could be, you know, hey, the market is shifting. You should sell now. Do you want to know how much your home is worth now? We could do all kinds of creative advertising in there and show up on people's news feed for you know, people that we don't even know, but it's in a specific demographic. We can segment homeowners in a certain zip code, in a certain age range. We can do all kinds of cool stuff, very hyper-local and geo-targeted advertising inside of Facebook. So that would be one way to drive some traffic to your website. The organic stuff we're going to be working on, but if we want some instant feedback and instant results, we can do a pay-per-click campaign on Facebook. The other thing that we could do is a pay-per-click campaign on Google. Now, Google's a little bit more expensive. I don't know if you've noticed on Google recently that if you do a search, let's just go to Google here and I'll show you. If you do a search, for example, for Orlando real estate, the first 4, well, that's actually lower than I thought it to be. Looks like there's only 2 advertisements showing on mine right now. Sometimes you'll see up to 4 different positions of advertisements. So, for example, Watson Realty Corp, this first position right here, this company paid to be here. So if we click on that, it's going to charge Watson Realty Corp, and I'm not going to do that, but it's going to charge them a certain dollar amount, and sometimes that's pennies, and sometimes that's dollars, and sometimes it's tens of dollars per click to their website. So it looks like we have 2 of those ad positions here. And in the past, you may have noticed, Google used to have advertisements that were going down the right-hand side of the page, which means that they would have a few up top, and I think it was up to 10 on the right-hand side of the page. So they had 12 or 15 advertisements on every single search. And now they're down to, in this case, 2. So they're more expensive now because there's not as much advertising there. So Google pay-per-click is a more expensive advertisement. However, it may be more effective for you. So if we think about the Facebook advertisement, it's just an interruption in a person's news feed. So if they were scrolling through and they happen to see your ad, they weren't really thinking about Orlando real estate. However, if somebody purposefully went to Google and typed in Orlando real estate, they're probably a much more active buyer or seller. And then maybe they typed in homes for sale or home values. They're much more likely to be more engaged. They're probably a little bit further down the funnel, and it might be a more valuable lead for you if those were coming from Google pay-per-click. So those are a couple options that you can do, either a Facebook pay-per-click or a Google pay-per-click campaign. So if you're blogging and you're doing pay-per-click, the traction is going to start to pick up here. You've introduced the website to your sphere of influence. This is the best way for you to market your website and get word out there and continue after your kind of initial sphere of influence to continue to get traffic into your website. So one of the things that we can do for you if you want some help and you have some questions on building those pay-per-click campaigns is we've got our marketing director here can consult with you and kind of help you figure out what budget you would need in order to get the traffic that you'd want to your website. So if you're interested in that, you can go to brandco.com/PPC for pay-per-click to learn a little bit more about how those campaigns could run in your market. And every market is different. Orlando is going to be less expensive than Chicago, but maybe more expensive than Altamont Springs or Apopka. So it really depends on the size of your market. And you know, they say that 50% of your marketing is wasted. You just really don't know which 50%. Having a consultation and learning about, you know, really where those dollars should go is extremely valuable. So if you're interested in that, hop over to brandco.com/PPC. And I think we're at a point right now, since we've gone through most of the content here, to just kind of open it up to questions. And let's see what we got here. Someone had asked a pretty interesting question about the benefits of published pages or non-published pages, and I think that's actually something good to cover here because I did not publish, or I didn't really link to the welcome page. So if you can see on my navigation here, I don't have the welcome page in there, even though if I go here to this website /welcome, the page exists. I'm not really linking to this because this to me is a landing page. So I wouldn't really want somebody to come to my home page. Let's say if I marketed this website via business cards or a sign post or something along those lines. I wouldn't want somebody clicking over to the welcome page. If they came there, to me, the home page is enough of a welcome, and we'll let them go find what they were looking for. Potentially they wanted to go to the home value form or the search for properties. So I wouldn't really link over to this welcome page. So a lot of times I'm going to hide those specific landing pages that I have for these different niches. And Another example of that is the offer that I made to you for those free consultations on the pay-per-click. That page, brandco.com/PPC, that's not a page that you can get to from my navigation, but it's a really good page that for me to make it easy for you to remember on how to get to a certain part of my website. So the pay-per-click part of my website, you can get there very easily. So I use landing pages and non-published pages, for lack of a better term. They're published, they're live, but they're just not in the navigation. I use those as landing pages and kind of directives in different things. So if you're running a Craigslist ad, you might use a different page. If you're running an ad on Facebook, you might use a different page. So number one, you can track things. Number two, that page may not be important enough to have in your navigation. So that's a really good question. I appreciate that. Let's see what else we have here for questions, and we're getting close to the end of our time here, so we're going to wrap up in about 4 minutes. How does the Placester limitations on the IDX play into the overall lead conversion? So I'm not sure that I completely understand the question there. It might be related to maybe the OmniSearch or the search criteria. The best thing that I would suggest that you do for creating pages and leading people into search is by using area pages, and we kind of alluded to that on the slide about SEO. By far, the best pages you can have on your website are your area pages that are broken down by neighborhood or city or zip code, where you can see, your consumer can see some valuable information that you provided as far as content on the top. And then below, they see all the properties that match that particular area, whether that's a neighborhood or a city or whatnot. So for example, if we're writing about that area we talked about before on Hunters Creek, creating an area page for Hunters Creek with all the information about what it's like to live there, and the schools are awesome, and they do movies in the park, and there's so many parks, and there's a golf course, all that great stuff. And by the way, on the bottom of that area page, Placester automatically puts all of the listings that are available for sale in Hunters Creek. So you're getting them all excited about wanting to live in Hunters Creek, and then directly below that, they've got the ability to see what homes are available. So that's the best way to do that, and we'll take a look at some of these other questions here. Post the link on how to build area pages. Absolutely. So there was a question about building area pages versus IDX pages. Area pages inside of Placester. Let's go take a look at that real quick. We'll just pick any of these sites. It doesn't really matter which one. Area pages actually have their own section on the far right of your navigation. So most of your pages that you create over here, these are good for content. That's actually where I created the welcome page. But the area pages are actually a little bit unique because that gives you the ability, to put the homes below it. And when you write an area, for example, Baldwin Park, then you can choose what type of area that is, if it's a neighborhood, a zip code, or a locality. And I'll absolutely post the link on how you can make the best area pages. Let's see, we've got time for one more question here, and then we'll wrap up. A lot of people, looks like, are asking about links to the other videos. All of you that signed up and registered here, I'm going to send you all of those links, a whole list of those links. And a couple of them we've broken down into shorter videos, so you don't have to sit on a webinar for 45 minutes in order to hear that information. So lots of link questions. Perfect. Pay-per-click advertising budget. So that really depends on your area. You can do, you could do pay-per-click advertising for $10 a day. You could spend $100 a day. It really depends on how how much you're trying to attract. I really think that $10 a day or $300 a month is probably the sweet spot for most places to start to see some return. And the pay-per-click advertising, especially on Facebook, needs to be something that is a long-term strategy. You can't just do it for 30 days and pull the plug. Perfect example of that is on my news feed. I had this company called 17 Hats, which I must have visited their website at some point, and they were retargeting me. And every single day I would see the 17 Hats come up, and their ad would come up, and I would just kind of glance through it in my news feed until one day I had a client asking me about alternative bookkeeping software and alternative CRM And I thought, oh, well, what about 17 hats? And it's only because of that repetition did I think about that. So any of these strategies that you try, you want to do those for a period of time where they've got some time and some traction and some recognition there. So to wrap up here, it's important that you create a multi-prong approach to marketing your new website. Let me go back up to the kind of checklist here. A multi-prong approach to your new website. We want to make sure that we create a little bit of content for these landing pages, for these campaigns that we're going to do, and that would be for a home value page as well as a welcome message page. It's critical that you engage your agent partners, the ones that are in your office, the ones that are across the country, and then your vendors as well. We want them to get a sneak peek of it because we want them to see that you're growing your business and that you're focused on marketing and growing your business, and hopefully they'll have some referrals for you too. You want to notify your database that this new website is coming. Give them an opportunity to have a sneak peek at it. Make it something exclusive and make it something fun, and let them know that they can invite their friends as family as well. You want to do a press release so that you can get some Google juice off of the links that be coming in from there, and you also want to take that press release and share it with some local HOAs and whatnot so that they can feature you there as the local expert. We want them to see this website as better than Trulia and Zillow because it's got a local person behind it and running the site. You want to make sure that you have a CMA offer to your existing clients so that they can be bragging about how awesome their agent is and how much money they've made in equity off of this purchase because you're just such an awesome agent. And then we want to do the main grand opening where we put a post out on Facebook. So again, we're certainly here to help you if you have some questions on how all of this works, or you just want somebody to kind of bounce some ideas off of. If you're interested in us helping you with the pay-per-click stuff, visit brandco.com/pay-per-click. And I will send a copy of this webinar along with the links to the other webinars in the follow-up email. And you all should get that tomorrow. So thank you for your time today. I appreciate you joining me. Thank you for the questions. And hopefully you learned some stuff today, and this was worth 45 minutes of your time. And I do appreciate you being here, and good luck to you. We'll see you on the next webinar. Thanks.